What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Great Lakes Brewing Company, and they're out of Cleveland, Ohio, and this is their Oktoberfest, the 2025 release. So this is a Märzen-style Oktoberfest that comes in at 6.5% alcohol by volume, 20 IBUs, and at the time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is, but it does have a best by date of August 12th of 2027. So obviously, according to the brewery, we should be more than good to go. Speaking of the brewery, I want to give another huge thanks and shout out once again to Great Lakes, and more specifically Lily from Great Lakes for this beer. So huge thanks to them. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies they sent my way, and they sent me an awesome beer mail in a branded box, contained a half a dozen beers, 5 of which were unique, some stickers, and an amazing personalized letter that basically more or less said they appreciated the thoughtful reviews, which is one of the coolest things I ever received as far as the channel goes in regards to beer mails. I've been drinking Great Lakes beer for over 15 years, one of my favorite regional breweries, and they make fantastic beer, and I can't thank them enough for the awesome box. But this beer specifically, why? Well, full disclosure, I've had this beer numerous times before, but the last time I had it was back in 2018, and when I reviewed it, I talked about in that review, and I'll post a link in the top right-hand corner if you want to check out that review, but I talked about how I loved this beer for many years, and then in 2014, I did a blind taste test with a very good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber, Paul, over at PaTroll News, and it got a 3 out of 5, and we were both very underwhelmed by it. Then fast forward to 2018, and I reviewed it, and I was still somewhat underwhelmed. I gave it a 3.5 this time around, 3.75 for style, but somewhere between, that blind taste test up to 2018, I was never really a huge fan of this beer for whatever reason, which is crazy because back in the early 2010s, I really enjoyed this beer. I think things are going to be a little bit different this time around because if you've been following the channel for the last couple of years, you know I love lagers now. And Oktoberfest beers, whether it's a fest beer or a Märzen, I can get behind them. So this is probably going to get a higher score. I'm probably going to enjoy it way more than I did 7 years ago, but that's why we do the reviews. I'm always honest with my reviews, so I'm hoping that this is a great beer. So on the side here it says, Prost. Our take on this classic German style is a real malt party packed with toasty, autumnal flavors, perfect for hearty hoisting. We're going to use the hashtag proper glassware, but not proper glassware. I'm not using my Great Lakes glass because we got the dimpled mug that are for Oktoberfest. So we're going to give it a pour. Probably go pretty aggressive here because I do want to get a decent head. This is only a 12 fluid ounce can, and this mug I think is more like in that 14 to 16 ounce realm. Oh, that looks like a beauty of a Märzen. Holy crap. This is the darkest probably Märzen that I've had this year based on what I'm seeing in my glass. That looks beautiful. Look at that beer. That is a proper amber lager, aka Märzen. Look at how beautiful that beer looks. Has about 2 fingers of a straight up khaki, maybe even like more of a tan or light brown colored head. Super creamy looking. There's only a couple big bubbles for the most part. It's very small, fine bubbles. Beautiful clarity. You can see my hand through the other side. But yeah, it has that beautiful like ruby red, amber, almost like Jurassic Park kind of mosquito hanging out in there. Hopefully not in my drink though. Don't want it in the beer. Anyway, beautiful looking, just beautiful looking Oktoberfest, honestly. Let's get nose. Why did I ever dislike this beer? You know, your palate is an amazing thing, but it's also very complicated. My palate changes quite frequently. Nowadays, if you follow the channel, I love West Coast IPAs. I love dry and bitter. 3 years ago, no way. Get those away from me. My palate has changed. It's continuing to evolve and change over time. And I used to love these beers because I loved malty sweet beers, and then at some point I really didn't care for them, and then I come back to liking them. I still prefer fest beers over Märzens, but this smells awesome. A lot of like brown bread, pumpernickel, honey, a little bit of caramel and toffee. Has a nice like toasted kind of pumpernickel bread. That kind of like orchard fruit, like red apple, almost pear-like kind of fruitiness. Maybe a touch of like a dried citrus peel. And then it has this floral, slightly spicy and earthy kind of hop note. It definitely smells more rich, decadent, and complex with the malt character, but that's what I expect out of this style at this point. And at 6.5%, that's a bit bigger than most Oktoberfest. I think Oktoberfest are kind of in like that 5 to 6 realm for the most part, whether it's a fest beer or a Märzen. So 6.5 is a bit higher than you see typically. Yeah, man, it smells good. No sulfuric lager funk. Just smells like a very nice Oktoberfest. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Prost. And thanks again to Great Lakes for supporting the channel. It's really awesome. Prost. I don't know how I ever gave this a 3 out of 5. I did a blind taste test, but again, that was 2014. I did that blind taste test. And in that blind taste test, Paul and I were, we had a rough night the night before because I hung out for a couple days. And we lined up a bunch of different Oktoberfests. And actually, Sam Adams won the American side. We did American versus German side. And Oktoberfest, Sam Adams Oktoberfest actually won the entire thing, I'm pretty sure, which was wild. But, you know, it is what it is. Another sip. Body, bigger than most. It is 6.5%. This is like medium, touch over medium. Might weigh down some people on the palate. I'm cool with it if I'm drinking a couple cans. Could I session this off the body? Might be tough. The mouthfeel, beautiful, crisp, clean, refreshing vibe to this one. Moderate carbonation, exactly what you want out of the style. So mouthfeel is fantastic. Body might be a little bit bigger than some people might enjoy, but I like it. It kind of matches the richness from the malt. The taste, pretty much the nose carried over. A malt explosion at the forefront. Toasted pumpernickel bread. There's a little bit of honey, caramel, toffee. Definitely, you know, the toasty vibe on this one is pretty big. You could say generic bready, maybe even a little bit of a biscuity kind of malt character. A slight skosh of nuttiness as well. Passes through. Orchard fruit, more of like a red apple skin, closer to the core. Not a sweet red apple, more just like a red apple kind of vibe you get from the flavor without the actual sweetness. A little bit of that underlying dried like citrus peel, kind of like, again, an orange, like a slight sweeter orange peel. And then the finish, this finish is floral, very floral, with a spicy slash bit of herbaceousness, not really earthy like was in the nose. Quite dry, has a nice firmly dry finish, mild to moderate bitterness. This leans more sweet than dry and bitter, like 60-40, 55-45, kind of what these types of beers are known for, which is part of the reason why I think a fest beer is more, dare I say, quaffable and enjoyable if you're sessioning. But these are more like, hey, I want an Oktoberfest beer, I want a couple cans. You can hammer this out. But the fest beers are more like I'm drinking liters of it at actual Oktoberfest, any celebration, whether you're the official one in Munich, Germany, or one here in the US. You want a fest beer to kind of just crush. This is more of like you sip on it, or even if you don't sip on it, you're just drinking a couple cans and maybe moving on to something else. The one critique I'll have of this one is that it is 6.5%, and this is very rare. It happens for me as a whole on my channel. Get a little bit of alcohol stringency on the palate, very slight. I don't want to say I can taste the alcohol, but I can taste that it's bigger than a typical like 5.5, 6% Oktoberfest beer, whether it's a fest beer or a Märzen. So will that distract? For some, maybe, but for me, not as much. It's just a really nice Märzen. It really is. I could drink at least a couple cans of this. I don't know about an entire six-pack. I don't know about a huge, multiple steins of it or anything. But I think some people could really get behind this. I think most people could get behind this, honestly. It's not too unbalanced. If you like rich malty lagers, then this is for you for sure. This is going to get a substantial bump up from the 3.5 because, again, I'm in my phase where I'm appreciating most styles. And I give most styles the benefit of the doubt. And I try even styles I don't like to date, and I still try them. Why? Because it's fun. It's fun to try different styles of beers that you don't like because you never know when you're going to find one that you enjoy. I'm not saying I don't like Märzens because I clearly do. It's just some of them weigh a little bit heavy on my palate as a whole, and this one really doesn't. I could drink multiple cans of this one. So Oktoberfest, the 2025 release from Great Lakes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give that a pretty proper... we'll go straight 4 out of 5. I think that's kind of where it lands for me, and I think that's a fair score, and I think it's really good. Stylistically, for like a good Märzen, this is probably like a 4.25, 4.3 easily. Very well done, even if it's bigger in ABV. Shout out to what sounds like a dirt bike going by. Price point availability in my neck of the woods, $10.99 a 6-pack. I don't know if they sell it in 12 packs. If they do, probably like $18 to $20. Great price point. You're talking less than $2 a can. It's 6.5%, so you're getting your bang for buck as far as the ABV goes, and in conjunction with the actual price point, so the value is there. And then the availability, who knows? check out Great Lakes. They have their website. They got a beer finder. I do know they get pretty much in like the northeastern part of the region, some places in New England, not all, but you can check out their website and see if you get their beer. If you do get Great Lakes, you should see this. This is their fall seasonal, and it is what it is. So once again, huge thanks to Lily and the Great Lakes team for the entire box of beer, but also sending me 2 cans of this. I have another one to enjoy. Really cool, and I'm very happy that they did so. Finally reviewed it after, 7 years on my channel. Pretty crazy that I haven't returned to this one until now, but I'm glad I did. 4 out of 5. If you've had this one before, please post in the comment section and let me know what you thought about it, whether it was a prior vintage or this year's offering. What do you think about it? It used to be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, American brewed Oktoberfest. Not so much anymore, but I could see how somebody would be like, all right, this is my favorite Märzen-style Oktoberfest, and I could not disagree with them because it is a lovely beer, really nice. And like I said, outside that slight astringency to let you know it's a little bit bigger beer, it's pretty good. Also, like I said, no sulfuric kind of lager funk in this one that I can really pick out as far as on the aroma and the taste, so that's pretty cool. So once again, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Two other things I want to mention. It always ends up being a longer review because I like to talk, but you're going to see this review after I review Nosferatu, but before you see the Midwest IPA review, I reviewed both of those beers first because they're IPAs. I'm actually reviewing this after both of those, but you'll see it before the Midwest IPA. Just want to let you know. And then, because I'm always honest with that stuff, and then in addition to that, this is probably the last Oktoberfest beer I'll review this year. By the time I post this one, will be in the middle of October. Pumpkin beers will be coming with the 8th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin. So no more Oktoberfest beers. This will make, I think, 7 Oktoberfest beers I reviewed this season. So that's a lot. I think we're good with that. So anyway, shutting it down. Appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers. Prost.